networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by A Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks. My name's Galen.
And I'm Joe.
We're coming at you virtually from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. So, Joe, before we get started, as we always do, how did our podcast come to be?
Sure. So it first started out as a private Facebook group page. Then the purpose was just to bring businesses together, talk, communicate, share tips, tricks, whatever around business. And so, and because we get asked a lot of questions about things other than marketing, we thought, what a better way than to bring on different guest speakers to talk about topics and share their knowledge about different topics relating to business.
Awesome. Thank you. So before we formally introduce our guest, our previous guest, which we had in studio, Nicole friend Anissa, what was one of the main takeaways you had when she was in studio with us last?
So her topic was all about culture. And so one of the things that resonated with me was just making sure to recognize people within the company, not just when they're doing good, but also those who are living within the company's culture.
Awesome. Thank you. So now to our guest. Today we have Mr. Guy Powel. Guy is the author of the new book, The Post-COVID Marketing Machine, Prepare Your Time to Win. He is a global thought leader in marketing strategy and ROI. He provides marketers with the strategies, tools, and tactics to continually improve their marketing ROI and exceed their company's sales and profit goals. He builds them marketing machines to properly organize and collect marketing data, connect marketing activities to sales, structure operations for continuous improvement, and make fact-based strategic and tactical marketing decisions.
For nearly 2 decades, Guy has helped marketers around the globe drive strategic advantage through a clear focus on the customer, supported by best-in-class analytics as the founder of ProRelevant Marketing Solutions. He has trained thousands of marketers in a wide variety of industries, including consumer packaged goods, fast-moving consumer goods, high-tech, financial services, telecom, and airlines. His work helps marketers make better decisions to deliver more revenue, profit, and market share.
Marketing mid-COVID and post-COVID changed drastically. Consumer purchase behavior and media consumption were different. The post-COVID marketing machine addresses these new rules of marketing to survive and thrive in the post-COVID marketing world. He has also authored Marketing Machine, The Secret History of the Future Marketing ROI, Marketing Calculator, and ROI of Social Media. Everyone, please welcome Guy to the podcast.
Welcome.
Hi, Galen. Hi, Joe. So good to be here.
Yes, sir. So let's get started. We like to get to know our guests a little bit more. We asked 3 questions. So this first question is, what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think the first thing, most important thing is it doesn't matter what you do until you get a sale. And that, as much as you want to be, great over here, great over there, but nothing happens until you get that sale. And I was never, up until as being an entrepreneur, I wasn't really a salesperson, but I certainly changed my stripes and really enjoy, the selling process. But that first thing is nothing happens until you get that sale.
Nice. And what's funny is all entrepreneurs, all business owners are salesmen, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what is the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I think, once you get past the sale, then you've got to really figure out what your what it is you're selling and why, and what's all about your business. And I think the best piece of advice I got was going way back to Jeffrey Moore, Crossing the Chasm, and I think he had 6 W's, I think he called them. And, when you think about your business, what is it? What is it that you sell? Who's it for? Why is it different? What's the value they get? And then I think the 5th one or the 6th one is then what's the environmental situation? And I have stuck by that. When I think about my own marketing, I always go back to that. I was just working with a building out a marketing plan with a friend of mine that's trying to launch a new museum on the West Coast. And I basically, pulled out my 6 W's and we went right through that. And I think that's a real critical way to look at, a business and use that as a way to, to structure what your whole thinking is in terms of what you're trying to do.
And it's a perfect segue into our last question, since this is we're a marketing company. It's technically a marketing podcast. Why is marketing important?
Well, of course, coming out of marketing and being a marketing company, marketing is the most important thing in the business. But, certainly sales is, but I kind of consider sales as another function of marketing. Sales is certainly a good way to get your message across and structure that message and be very interactive. But in reality, marketing is how you structure the whole side of business to make sure your business is successful. And, and that means not just getting that first sale, but then how do I translate that into getting then the 10th sale, the 100th sale, and the 1,000th sale? And if you haven't structured your marketing properly in terms of what your costs are and how you compete and what it is that you offer and how you beat expectations and, and all of those things that go with it, then you're not really marketing. And so, marketing is kind of the wherewithal that brings everything together.
Yes.
Our hashtag Valor Cares initiative. Joe, can you shed some light on that, please?
Sure. So during COVID, we wanted a way to give back to business owners, both locally to where we're at and also just nationwide. So our hashtag Valor Cares promotion is just that we give away free website builds to businesses. So you can go to our website, you can click on the Valor Cares, you could submit your business or maybe a friend's business that you think deserves a website.
Awesome. Thank you. So now we come to the part of our podcast, our Advanced Septic Pump You Up Quote of the Day. So this one I've heard before and I love by Bobby Unser. Success is where preparation and opportunity meet. So Guy, can you share a thought about that? Because you're I think the books you've written kind of lead up to that, but share a thought, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And no question about it. Preparation and being prepared is so critical. As much as I'd like to be able to think I can, dance on my feet and bob and weave or whatever. But if you're in a sales situation and you have not prepared, then your probability of winning that is less and less. My partner and I on the business development side, we spend tons and times of time researching our prospects, and then obviously staying up with our customers after they become a customer, but researching our prospects, researching who their competitors are, how they go to market. We'll often, even before the call, we'll go to their stores or we'll go to a store or a restaurant or whatever it happens to be to actually really and truly experience what it is that they're trying to sell, so that when we get on the call, then we can very easily personally relate to that. And that preparation is everything. I think it was Eisenhower that said, planning is everything and plans are nothing. If you have your plans and you've done your planning, then, when you go into battle, everything changes, but at least you've planned everything so that you're ready to react. And so when you're going into that sale and making those preparations, you are really able to provide the value during that conversation that needs to be there.
Awesome. Great insight. Thank you. Our Fuse Networks Did You Know segment. So here's the Fuse tip of the day. Your productivity is tied to how happy your team is. The best thing you can do for your employees, as we mentioned with Nicole's episode, is provide a good work experience. But what do we mean when we say this? In essence, you spend a lot of time trying to find the best fit for your organization. So you want to invest a solid amount of effort into making sure they stick around. This goes beyond compensation. You should consider the following for your business work experience. Contact Fuse Networks today for your free evaluation. So we're going to go over a couple myths that I want to throw your way, Guy, and just get your thought. Joe, you mind reading the first one?
Sure. Digital marketing is only for big firms. One of the most common digital marketing myths is that digital marketing is only for big law firms. Realistically, though, digital marketing is a critical component to helping your practice grow, and you don't need a massive corporate-sized budget to see results. We recommend spending 7 or 8% of your firm's revenue on digital marketing efforts.
And not necessarily for law firms, but for all businesses. But is it only for big firms, digital marketing?
Yeah, absolutely not. It is definitely for the entrepreneur, and as well as the medium size and the large and the super big enterprises. Digital marketing is here, and it is the way to get going. I mentioned I have another book that's about to come out, and we are going to be using digital marketing. And I'm not even a company; I'm an individual, basically. I've got one person that I pay to do social media and what have you, and we are going to support and drive that business through digital marketing. And it doesn't have to be you don't have to have a big budget. For a book, you're advertising on Amazon is what we're going to be doing. But for any kind of a business, you have to be online. And I've even noticed, for small businesses, I've started to see on TV relatively targeted, hyper local kinds of ads. And so you can now get even on TV for probably less than 10 grand. And I don't know if that's big or small, but you can get on TV nowadays with a very targeted to your audience on TV with a relatively high quality ad that can stand out and get the awareness going of your company, and then hopefully get them to your website, and then use other digital techniques to get them from being a visitor to your website and to finally, convert and be a customer.
I will say a quick side note to that. It has become more affordable to advertise on TV with on-demand television, because now you could, like Hulu, platform on-demand platforms, you don't have to buy big media spends. You could target your audience to make it more affordable for the plumber, the tree guy, the pest control to go on TV. This next one, having a website is enough to market your business. Even in today's landscape, some businesses think digital marketing is extra or nice to have. In truth, internet marketing tactics have become essential. Your online reputation is one of your business's most important assets, and you can bet that the majority of your future clients are performing research online. Social media, as Guy mentioned, and online credibility are today's word of mouth. You need to prioritize digital tactics in order to meet your clients where they look for answers. So Guy, your thought on, is a website enough?
Yeah, well, no, a website is not enough, but certainly you can't. Nowadays, I don't think you can do business without having a website. You have to at least be in line with your competitors, and anybody that thinks that they don't have competitors out there is just plain wrong. There are always competitors, even if you've got the most sophisticated, super duper different, there's always some other way to do exactly what you're doing. And so you have to be able to be online, and search is the first place that people go when they have a question about something. And if you don't pop up in search, or you don't have a website to even pop up in search, then they're not going to find you. They're going to find somebody else. So you have to have a website. You have to absolutely have a website.
If I just put content out there, it'll be enough. A lot of businesses have come to realize the power of content creation, but simply pushing out content isn't enough. For one thing, you need to focus on quality over quantity. Creating content for the sake of content won't help your marketing efforts. Focus on high quality, well-researched content that provides real information and positions your business as a thought leader. Furthermore, you need to promote your content in various ways. This post describes some of the ways in which you could repurpose content for social media.
So just like you mentioned, like for the book, you're using social media. It's not going to be the same thing. You're going to meet people where they're looking for you, as like the other point said.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly, I mean, good content is always better than bad content. And I don't know, you've probably been watching some of the Chat GPT stuff that's come out.
Oh yeah.
I've done a couple of things on that, and I've been surprised at how well written they are, but also surprised at how kind of, I would call it, superficial the answers are.
Yes.
So they don't really dive into what I would call then quality content to be able to really show off your expertise. It's kind of like they go out to a handful of sites and Wikipedia, and they pull a sentence here and there and here and there, and then they put that together, but it isn't really great content to be able to support your business. And one of the things that people are looking for when they buy something from you, it's not necessarily only that you have a better price, but that you show that you have real expertise and that they can relate to you in the right way. And then because of that, then you have to have content that reflects what they're really looking for and why they're going to make a decision, and hopefully make a decision at a higher price than the competition, because you've shown that you are an expert in your field.
Right. I would say to the Chat GPT, it's grammatically exquisite and perfect, but kind of falls short on the authenticity, like the connection. So it'll be perfectly, you won't see any grammatical errors. Sentence structure is perfect. The keywords are on point, but then it doesn't go beyond to connecting. I'm talking to someone in the neighborhood who I want to meet or something. So
Yeah, you still have to have a human component to it, and editing the content that they write or they deliver, I should say.
Yep. Yeah, and I think there's also the point where the human interaction as well. I think you can take what ChatGPT gives you as kind of a starting point, but the human piece of it is really where then the value of that can be enormously amplified. And to your point, if you were just going to make a whole bunch of content out of ChatGPT, I think you would not win in the marketplace.
Yeah, and there's just so many other AI solutions out there for writing content anyways. ChatGPT is one of them. There's other ones. I mean, I use one to write descriptions for our YouTube, when I'm doing YouTube posts. So there's just multiple options out there for people.
So this next one, traditional ads will always be the best. For many years, businesses have relied on traditional advertising tactics like TV and billboards. However, these tactics are not quite the most cost-effective tactics for many. If you always worked with a small budget, you might have thought advertising was out of your budget. However, the rise of paid search and paid social media has made advertising extremely cost efficient and granular. And back to traditional ads, our former lives, we sold yellow page sales. So I talk about traditional, now going to non-traditional. So your thought on that? Traditional ads will always be the best.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not. Although I will admit, with things happening in the digital advertising space, with potentially the loss of the cookie and things like that, the value of traditional advertising will start to go back up. And it's a balance. So right now, you can do some awesome targeting and retargeting with digital. And so no question, you're going to get a really good ROI on that. But as then some of the privacy issues and then the cookie issues go away, then all of a sudden the ROI of traditional stuff will become more in vogue. For larger clients, they have to have both. It's always a mix of both of them. If you have a very targeted, specific audience, then it could be that traditional advertising could work for you, in a magazine or something like that, or a billboard. If billboards are great. If you got a restaurant that's right underneath it, that billboard right there is awesome. But in the general case today, especially for smaller entrepreneurs, digital advertising is it's so inexpensive to get started, and you can be so targeted to those people that are going to be more likely to buy that you can't lose with doing digital marketing.
Right. I mean, from a traditional standpoint, I still have like a newspaper subscription, for at least the weekend paper, just because I like holding it growing up and everything.
You like getting your fingers black. That's what it is.
I do, crosswords or different things. Now it's like Sudoku, my kids do and everything. So just different things. So, I like looking and sometimes circling things with the different topics for sports and everything. But this last one, Joe, you want to read this one, please?
Social media is only for the younger generation. Those I'm marketing to just aren't on there. Over 75% of Gen X is on social media, and maybe many baby boomers spend almost 2 hours daily on social media. Social media is an important tactic for firms, as not having a presence online can lower credibility. Excuse me, as many users across generations turn to social media when researching brands they may want to work with.
You sound like that older generation, Joe. So
I do. I do.
So pardon. But Guy, talk to us about social media. You mentioned it with your strategy for your book. You've written books about it. But for our audience, social media isn't just for the younger generation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this book, Post-COVID Marketing Machine, is for the senior marketer, and we have been primarily promoting it on social properties. I've got a handful of other books, and then a new book coming out as well. That is, I'm building momentum using social media. And, you have to look, though, at the different types of social media and who you're going to be able to find on there. Facebook right now is probably for the 50, 45, 55, maybe a little bit higher female, more than male audience, and that wants to stay in touch with their family and friends and recipes and whatever. Whereas maybe TikTok is for the, I don't know, the Gen Y or the Gen Zs, younger. And then you have things, and I don't know if you consider Quora a social media. I do. Quora is kind of a different, beast altogether as well. And then somewhere in the middle is maybe Instagram and what have you. So and then I didn't even mention YouTube. YouTube is definitely social media, and it's an incredible platform to reach so many different players, so many different customers. And then lastly, social media gives you better search results. So if I type in what my product is all about, and I want to build a post-COVID marketing machine, and if I have a strong social media presence, then I am more likely to rank higher because of that social media presence. So it all fits together. You can't necessarily ignore one versus the other. For entrepreneurs, though, certainly you have to focus your efforts and really pick the right one that makes sense for your business and who you're targeting. But nevertheless, it's kind of like you have to do all three. You have to do digital marketing, you have to have a website, and you have to have social media. And you have to, pick and choose your battles, but nevertheless, in order to really be successful, those three things really play together for entrepreneurs.
Let's get into your book, The Post-COVID Marketing Machine. When we talked months ago, it's just a topic that I think is like ultra relevant, post-COVID marketing. Your book, who would be a good candidate to read your book? Let's talk about that first, and then get into a couple takeaways on why that person want to pick it up and things that people could implement right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for that. So Post-COVID Marketing Machine was written really for senior marketers, somebody that's got to make marketing decisions about how they're going to spend their money. And it doesn't matter whether you're with a small business, a medium or large business. The idea is that if I invest $1 in marketing, how can I make sure that I'm going to get profitable dollars back out of that? And so that's number one, is that's kind of the top objective. How do I do that? And the idea is to build a marketing machine where I actually can know that I'm getting a good return on each and every one of the marketing activities that I do. So whether those are, investments in digital marketing, how much did I get out of the 1,000 clicks that I got? Did I sell? What was my conversion rate? What can I do to improve it? What about my social? I've got this social presence. I've got this audience out there. How do I know I'm getting money back on that? And then if you're a larger advertiser, of course, you are looking at traditional media, whether it's TV, radio, billboards, and taxi toppers and bus wrappers, all the cool stuff that might go with that. I just love those two terms, by the way. And of course, I do love Super Bowl commercials. So, and those kinds of things, for a very large marketer, are also very critical to be able to say, listen, we're going to now spend $5 million, $6 million on a Super Bowl commercial. What's my expected result out of that? And what I want marketers to be able to do, whether they're small or medium or large budgets, is so that they can invest that dollar and have a good chance of getting a good ROI out of it. It's a predictable result, and it's an accountable result, one that I can really rely on, that yes, when I put that dollar in there, I'm going to get my $10 back or $100 back, whatever it is. And that's the idea of the marketing machine. The second piece, though, is post-COVID. COVID was, for everybody, it was a game changer. I think,
Yep.
To put it lightly, I'm sure it was more than a game changer. It was a life changer, certainly for a lot of businesses as well.
Yeah.
And marketers really needed to rethink what was going on. I remember one of our clients had been focusing primarily on big sporting events. And all of a sudden, COVID happened, and sporting events are gone. They're canceled. They're canceled for
Right.
at least 12 months, maybe even 24 months. And they had to totally redo what they were doing in their marketing. And I remember them saying, we're running around here like with our heads cut off, like chickens with their heads cut off,
Yeah.
because we have to make so many changes, because all of a sudden sporting isn't there.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I can't, I have a venue. A friend of mine was director of marketing for the aquarium here in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and he didn't have any. There's no more guests for
Yeah.
12 months maybe, and so all of a sudden he had to figure out a way to build a digital experience and be able to sell tickets online for the online experience as opposed to the in-person, personal experience. And so all of those things kind of came together where where they really needed to rethink how they were going to market, and then also adjust how they were going to determine whether that was actually going to drive revenue in a predictable, accountable way for them.
Yeah.
Right. Because even we've heard it before. We've said it on this podcast, 3 Ps of the COVID pandemic. Do you pause, panic, or pivot? And sometimes the chicken with their head cut off is let's pause, let's just stay tight, or don't do anything. And really people pivoted to, this is an opportunity to market more, to gain more kind of the land grab market share when people are pausing. And then when it comes out, then you'll kind of reap those benefits down the road. So the couple of clients that did that actually have experienced significant growth. So we know that from a true case study, right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I noticed through the COVID is that I think a lot of companies realized that their online presence sucked. There's no other way to put it. They realized that, oh crap, I'm behind the times. My website should have been rebuilt many years ago. I should have been investing in SEO and Google ads and social, I should have been doing all of these things already. A lot of people, I think, just got complacent to where their business was at, just relying on word of mouth and referral. And now they're like, how do I gain new customers? So I think COVID was great for a lot of digital marketing companies, because companies had to start investing in their business.
And I would say just from our podcast alone, like how we're meeting via Zoom, technology made us open our connectivity to like other entrepreneurs like yourself. As we get to know, the world became smaller in the digital space, the virtual space, where we use it as let's have a way to maintain relevance, to have a discussion, to have something tangible in the cloud. Touch the podcast right there. But it made us kind of more efficient that way. Instead of face-to-face meetings, you hit the road, bell to bell. Now you could have like 4 meetings in half a day if you scheduled it the right way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny. We started a series of wine tastings as part of our marketing activities. The first one was February 28th, 2020. And then all of a sudden, hey, we can't do it. And we actually got clients out of that first one. And so we changed over, once we kind of thought about it, well, we can do the wine tasting online. And we were doing a Zoom wine tasting, and it worked out really well. We got, some good relationships built for us and some good clients out of that. And we've been doing those now basically once a quarter for the last 2 or 3 years since that time. And
Nice.
you're right. It was that pivot that forced us to do that.
So if there's one takeaway that you could give our audience with creating these marketing machines, or a reason, I need to go get Guy's book, what would that one thing be today to our entrepreneurs listening out there now, small business people?
Well, it's I hate to say it, it's a 4-letter word. If you don't mind, I will repeat it.
Okay.
Sweet.
It's called data. Data. I know you were expecting something else, but it's data.
Yeah.
And marketing data. If you want to be successful in marketing, you have to get data. And Google Analytics, if you're just going to do digital marketing, Google Analytics is awesome. If you're going to do social, you've got Facebook Insights, and you've got each of the platforms has theirs. But it's not just the data. You need to start to put it into some kind of a template that makes sense. And I'm a time series guy, so what did we do this week? And then, look at it and look at the data. What did we do the next week? Look at it, look at the data. What did we do the following week? And then week by week, looking at what we did, what we got out of it, and then also how we can take advantage of that as we put our plans together. So data, 4-letter word for a reason. So.
Awesome. Well, our tagline's data driven, results based. So, how could people get a hold of you if they wanted to reach out to you? Share the best way to reach you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, the best way to reach me and about my book, The Post-COVID Marketing Machine, is at marketingmachine.prorelevant.com. So my company is called ProRelevant. So marketingmachine.prorelevant.com. And there you can get a free excerpt of the book, and you can find out about other things about the book and where and why we are experts in what we do, and go from there.
Awesome. Quickly, Joe, our last plug for our Valor Cares.
So just like Guy mentioned, websites are super important. So it's the foundation of every business. So if you don't have a website, or maybe your website's just outdated, or you have a website you don't have access to, go to our website, click on Valor Cares, submit your information, and hopefully we can build you a free website.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Sounds like if there's other books in the future, we may invite you back for another topic and everything. But on behalf of our sponsors, Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks, my name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you virtually from the BD local studios in Tacoma, Washington. Guy, thanks again for joining us. Thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Galen.
Yes, sir.
A good networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning.